able to stay home, brother.
You know, when they ask you that, you just say yes.
Soup salad or breadsticks?
I would love this.
Yes.
I would love the super salad.
Hey, friends and fam. We are opening up another episode of the Super Salad Podcast. I am your host, Rachel Eiley, also known as the OG Rachel, depending on who you ask. I'm here with my awesome co-host, Nate. Nate, how are we doing today?
I am doing great, Rachel, for a multitude of reasons. Number one, first and foremost, we're back with Super Salad, first issue of the pod since January, I believe.
Yes.
So I've missed you, my friend. But I'm also happy, and here's the thing, people. Sometimes in life, when you are happy about something, it could be something that hurts your friends and the people you care about. And so I try to be delicate with this, like Charles Barkley. I'm going to be careful with my words because my Atlanta dream today acquired the services of one Angel Reese, leaving Rachel's Chicago Sky.
So heartbreaking to see my city suffer another loss like this. I just, my thoughts are with everyone struggling today for this great loss of a truly spectacular athlete. And you know what? We wish her nothing but the best in Atlanta because she is a class act and an awesome person.
It's crazy, Rachel, because when I was going on IG when I first saw the story, I was like, okay, let me go to the Skies page because I followed them because I was a really big fan of Angel, obviously, and I also love Camila Cardosa from South Carolina. And so let's see, because teams always tweet out like the thank you posts, and so I was like, let's see what Chicago Sky has to say about Angel, and they put out a very nice, respectful post. But that comment section, Rachel.
Oh God, I'm sure.
Everybody, I would say not everybody, that's exaggerating, but I would say at least 70% of the comments were along the lines of, we love you, Angel. Thank God I don't have to follow this franchise anymore. I can stop being a Sky fan and just follow you.
I can't blame them for feeling that way. Chicago sports have not had a great few years, to say the least. It was unfortunate that the year after I moved here, the Cubs won the World Series for the first time in 90 years. So I was
you thought it was going to be all uphill from there. You're like, oh, smooth sailing.
So I was like, we're doing good. I had a lot of good years with the Yankees. And by that, I mean, when I lived in New York, they were successful a lot. So I was taking credit for that.
So you got to see the Cubs win a World Series, and then you got to see the White Sox have the worst record in baseball history.
I've been to one White Sox game last year. We left in the 6th inning because they were down by 11 points.
Wow. At least you beat traffic.
I did. I took the red line home. It was good. It was a good game.
I think somebody that can identify with you, Rachel, with their struggling sports franchises in their cities is our favorite producer all the way from Washington, D.C. There's some other failed franchises in Washington, D.C., but we're not going to talk about those people that live in that house that happens to be white. Let's bring on the super producer himself, two-way Ray Williams. Ray, what's up, man?
Everything's going well. I'm glad, and I'm not acknowledging the Nationals at any point right now. So, yeah, I'm glad none of our team – well, scratch that. Yeah, the Wizards are still playing. But in about 2 weeks, we don't have to worry about the Wizards anymore, at least for the foreseeable future. But, yeah, I'm definitely not a stranger of flailing and failing sports franchises. And indeed, you did mention 45, 47. Yeah, his run has not been very dynastic as well. So
Oh, we'll get there. Don't worry.
Oh, it's sad
Anyway.
but funny.
Yeah.
Let's pick up the mood, Rachel, because we got two fun things to talk about on this episode. So I will let you lead us, my friend.
All right. So our first is a review of the first season of Wonder Man. This is a Marvel show, as I'm sure you're aware by now. I'm not a Marvel person, but I did, of course, watch this show for our fine podcast. I thought it was really enjoyable. I wasn't familiar with the comics or any of the background stuff, but I was, of course, a big fan of Wonder Woman. So I was like, Wonder Man, all right, I guess, hopefully do a good job with him too. Nate, how did you feel about the show?
So yes, we all know Rachel is famously not a Marvel. That's on her business card. Rachel, I'm not a Marvel. But I think Wonder Man was a pleasant surprise. It was a surprise to the audience because this show was announced years ago, Rach, and it finally just came out in January, and so like a lot of people had either forgotten about it or had low expectations. So we were pleasantly surprised by what we got. And then I also think Disney and Marvel were surprised because they did very little promotion of this show. And it was one of those shows where the audience just kind of fell in love with Yahya Abdul-Mateen II's performance and Sir Ben Kingsley's performance. And it's a really different kind of Marvel show, especially when you get to episode 4, which was kind of one of my favorite episodes of this season. And so, yeah, like I don't think this show was planned to have a season 2, which was announced a couple weeks ago, Rach. But I think the response, like it's the rare Marvel show that the audience is like, we want more of this. And Marvel's actually like, okay, well, we can do that.
We could do that. Yeah, that's so nice for a turn. No, I thought this was really charming. I loved how they started off with him as a kid going to see the movie with his dad and like how much that stuck with him. We talk a lot about, like kids and dreaming and Superman and comics and why that's all like important. Then seeing him as an adult with failures of the acting industry, I can definitely relate. I have many friends participating in the acting industry. I know many of them are extremely talented, but it's very difficult to get jobs. In the first episode when he's going on the job and he's like given so much, and I was like, oh no.
Yes.
He's not getting out of his own way, and then his job gets cut, and I was like, "Oh, dude, you're killing me." It was painful to watch.
Yeah, like that first scene to me, Rach, like I love it, just because it kind of gives you all you need to know about Simon in a quick glance. Is the first thing, he is a very talented actor. Like you can see that off the bat, but he's also someone who is in his own head a lot and gets in his own way a lot and gets in the way of his success because he's so focused on these things instead of living in the moment of what he's doing. And I think it's a funny line, but it's also like crushing because he goes through all these things and these suggestions. And I think the first couple suggestions, the director was like, okay, that could work. By the time he's having the crew move the lights and the sets and stuff, they're like, no. And so then you just hear, all right, that's a wrap on Simon Williams. Everybody give it up. And they fire him from American Horror Story.
Simon, it's so heartbreaking because like having like done acting classes, those are like the things they tell you to do, like, oh, create a backstory for your character and like give them reasons why here. And so he was like doing all the right things. It was just like he couldn't get out of his own way, and I was just like, oh man, this is sad. But
so Rach, before we go further, because you are familiar with Yahya, because you are not a Marvel, but you're a DC from the Aquaman movie. So did seeing him in this kind of a role, like, was it surprising to you, and just kind of how maybe personal and intimate the Simon Williams character was?
Yeah, definitely. Yahya's great. I have to laugh at Aquaman in general because he's just such a funny concept for me, and like bringing back like the Justin Hartley pilot that the CW did back in the day. Like it's just all just Aquaman. Ooh, what a character. No, I thought he did a really wonderful job with the acting, and really, diving into a character that has like a lot of emotions. It's really struggling through a time in life, trying to chase what he wants, but also trying to protect himself and make sure that his dream and himself stays safe in a world that is increasingly hostile to people with powers. It's very clearly set post Superman. I was like, is there a name for the new Superman movie? The most recent Superman movie, which also got me thinking, because the actor that plays Von Kovac is the crazy guy from The Country and Superman.
Yes, he is working right now. He is booked and busy.
I saw he came on and I was like, wait, I know that man. It was the crazy guy from Russia.
Yes.
Russia. From the Superman movie. So I was like, good for him. He's doing great. I thought the series did a really interesting take on highlighting humanity even within superpowers. And it was really a character study on Simon as a person and just his struggles and what he's been through. And ultimately, I think what brings us to the finale of the show, it comes back to the human relationship that he built with Trevor. And that is ultimately what took him, beyond just, saying, screw the people that are trying to get me. I'm going to break you out of prison, which is pretty wild, I would say.
Yes. And I think for Ben Kingsley, and again, as Ray has on the screen, spoiler alert, if you hadn't seen the first season of Wonder Man, if you haven't, watch it. Do yourself a favor. But here's a case where I thought I was smarter than the show, Rachel, but I was actually wrong. See, men can admit when they're wrong, Gino Auriemma. Anyway, when they reveal in the first episode, like at the end of the very first episode, because Trevor meets Simon after he gets fired, and Simon is like feeling bad. So what does he do to make himself feel better? He goes to the movies and he sees a guy talking on his phone. And he's like, "Hey man, can you turn off your phone or whatever?" And the guy turns around and it's Trevor Slattery, aka the former Mandarin from Iron Man 3. And they strike up a friendship. And I thought they were gonna, because I knew something was up with Trevor, Rach, but I thought they were gonna string us along for the entire series. But at the end of the very first episode, they're like, "Oh no!" Like Trevor is working with the Department of Damage Control, and he is a spy, and he is spying on enhanced individuals, and he is out to get Trevor in exchange for them letting him off of his sentence. And so I was like, "Why would you reveal that so early?" But I think the reason they did that, Rach, is because it doesn't matter at the end of the day, like when you find out, because it's more about the journey that these two men take, where Trevor becomes more selfless and Simon is allowed to feel emotions he probably hasn't felt in a while because he's so in his head and he's so closed off. And it's seeing those two help each other through their journey, which is more important than, wait a minute, that was the big twist at the end. Yeah,
and I think seeing them build a friendship together, even while knowing the whole time that Trevor is a double agent, it makes it that much more meaningful. Or they had their fun things when they were going to bust the guys that were making candy.
Yes,
that scene was so funny. I was dying. It's just the chamoy. Like,
yes,
A+. Really love that. I thought the mini episode they did with I don't remember the name they used, but the actor with the superpowers and
well, Rachel, hold on, Rachel, you got to say, put some respect on his name. Ding dong, bitches, it's the doorman.
So funny.
That episode was crazy. Because I don't know if you've ever seen Atlanta, Rachel, but that doorman episode, like, to me, it felt kind of like an episode of Atlanta.
No, I haven't, but
just kind of weird and out there, but still grounded. But I really enjoyed that episode, and it also kind of tied back into why Simon was so worried that his secret would get out, because if it got out, he wouldn't have a job, and they'd probably lock him up and study him.
Right. Yeah. No, it was definitely an important piece of context. for that kind of stuff. Okay, so the Mandarin stuff that was Iron Man.
Yes, so it was in Iron Man 3, and it ties back into Shang-Chi as well because who's my guy? Is it Guy? It's not Guy Ritchie, it's Guy Pearce that played the bad guy in Iron Man 3, and he was using Ben Kingsley as the front, to scare people. And then we see in Shang-Chi, we actually meet the real Mandarin, and he's like, got Ben Kingsley locked up because he's like, hey man, you out here putting dirt on my name. And so then that's where we pick up when Ben Kingsley is on the airplane in one of these episodes, Rach, I think when they do the flashback, he's coming back from wherever Shang-Chi took place at.
Okay, yeah, I was super confused about that part. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, you played a terrorist in a movie, but then it was somehow real life, and what? I was really confused. But Marvel.
And everybody keeps calling him the Mandarin, like they won't let him move on with his life.
No, stop. It's like, oh, this poor guy. I will tell you one thing. One part of a scene that kind of bugged me.
Okay.
It was when they went to the party at his mom's house, and he brings Travis with him, and they're all like doing it at the end, and it's all very relatable because he has the obnoxious older brother who's like, why are you bailing out my golden child of a younger sibling? He's never never done anything good in his life. And then at the end, they're all like in the kitchen, and they show Simon like getting mad and like essentially breaking the table. And I guess this comes down to like how Marvel decided to portray his like his superpowers and him like losing control. But when he like it basically came to just like it just seemed like he was getting extremely angry, and then the thing broke, and it kind of read like domestic violence to me, and I didn't like it. I understand that's not what they were trying to portray. They were trying to portray that like when he's he feels like it's out of control, and it things happen that he doesn't mean for them to happen. I get that, but how it came off, it kind of looked like it was someone losing control and like taking out violence against someone they loved, and I felt kind of uncomfortable with that, honestly. So that was just something I wanted to highlight.
Yeah, I think in a way you can kind of make a corollary to that, Rage. Like you said, I don't think that's what Daniel Destin Cretton,
No, definitely not.
Runner, was going for in that scene. I also think like something that was interesting in that scene is nobody freaked out except for Trevor in that scene, because it's almost like and you saw Eric, the older brother, like instantly kind of shield his mom, and it's like this is something that's happened probably multiple times through Simon's life growing up, and just not being able to control this power. And they've like the first time it happened, they probably were like, "What the hell is going on?" And now they're like, because even when it was over, the look they just gave him, it's like, "Come on, man, again,
come on, dude." Yeah, there's like again, and then they showed the scene at the end where it's like after the fire, and the nurse is like, "Are you playing me? This kid was in the fire. He's fine."
Right.
So I thought, I thought that was really interesting. I did like the scenes with his family. I thought it was sweet that they included it. Like
you know what else is sweet, Rachel?
What?
That it's a great treat in life when somebody can surprise you. Granted, you may have low expectations of this person, but when they exceed those expectations, it makes you feel good, Rachel. Because you and I, of course, have watched Wonder Man and are sharing our thoughts about it. But, ladies and gentlemen, Ray Williams, the man who doesn't watch anything. Daredevil is the man without fear. Ray Williams is the man without a Disney Plus subscription. Ray Williams has watched Wonder Man. So before we get too deep into the conversation, Ray, what were your thoughts watching? And you maybe have seen it the most recent of all of us, because I think you just watched it today.
Yes. And by the way, yes, fulfilling low expectations is a story of my life. So I'm
it's your superpower.
Yes. But I think I wanted to pick up where you guys just left off with that scene with his mom, his older brother, and Trevor, and just I could see where you were going, how you were thinking that, OG Rach, because I think even like prior to him, as he's kind of getting worked up, you can hear brother and his mom kind of arguing, and she's like, "Don't make him mad," and he was like, "Why you always protected him, and why do we care if we make him mad or not?" So I could see like allusions that they're kind of mom is trying to protect him, even though she knows the capability of his powers, and even though she might seem as though like she's helpless to them, and so she's trying to keep him calm at all times. And I could kind of see, I could see where you're coming from in that particular aspect. Um, but then right after, and it's funny how you guys did mention, oh, well, it's probably something that he's only shown his family, because he literally in the next episode admits that to Trevor, saying, "You're the first one outside of my family to see that side of me." And so I think that, and you guys mentioned the fire too. It's always alluded like throughout the series about, or throughout the season, about the fire. We don't really know what happened. We can only presume that instead of him just cooking, that he got angry and something happened again. And we also know that that happened after his father passed away, which is also alluded to throughout the series. So yeah, I think the show did a great job with just showing the emotional turmoil, and just showing somebody who is trying to make something of himself. But and I can relate to Eric, because I'm also an older brother. I'm not as successful as Eric is, but I'm an older brother who's trying to put things together, and I have two younger brothers. But I kind of deem them as though like they're not trying to get themselves together, and I kind of felt for where Eric was coming from, because it's like, but I can see like Simon actually is trying to make something of himself and trying to pursue his art. And I really dug the relationship, because you guys did mention like Trevor is always getting recognized for being the Mandarin, but when Simon sees him, he was like, "No, I remember you from this movie that you did back in the 70s." And so I think they build that bond off the love of movies.
Yeah.
And I think it's such a refreshing view, because, and I think you mentioned this when we kind of did like a semi-review back in January, Brother Nate, is that we don't really see all the superpowery fighting stuff until like the latter half of the season. But it's really built off the relationship of Trevor and Simon, and just their love for movies. And it feels like this entire series is kind of like a meta master class of what acting is, because it's like you have these two actors who are playing actors, and then in the case of Mandarin, who's also acting in front of Simon to get information so that he can get out of jail. So it's like a triple. It's like really, really interesting how they're mentioning real movies and real plays and real artists. So I think it's not only this relationship building between those two, and we're trying to figure out who Simon is, but also it's kind of like an indoor look into how the process is to actually be an actor. And it's very, very interesting to see. Like it's more of that, like a love letter to what acting is and to what the art of filmmaking is, rather than just your straight up paint by numbers superhero action series.
Yeah, no, it's definitely very interesting and different, a different take. Yeah, I think they really, I think they did a better job of showing his like emotional turmoil and how it kind of took off in like the warehouse explosion scene, where I think they did a better job of kind of showing it there, how he was, really, really emotionally going through it, and then the result of the warehouse blowing up, even though he wasn't like intending on blowing up the warehouse.
Yeah. And I think
Speaking of, hold on, Ray Williams,
Go ahead.
because say his name and he appears. I believe in Chris Ely.
Okay, what's up, y'all?
Professor Chris is joining us. What's up, Chris? How you doing, man?
Chilling. I was sick all last week. That's why I was kind of slow to chat in any of the group chats and stuff. I started a new medication and it had me throwing up
That's
nonstop. Yeah.
wow.
And then my wife got sick too. We went to San Francisco over the weekend last week, and when I got back in town, we both got sicker than we were when because we were starting to get sick in San Francisco, and then by the time we got home, like neither of us were any help to each other. It's just
It sounds like you're feeling better though, Doc. I'm happy you're feeling better.
Oh yeah. I just got done writing a article on Nick Cannon. And that's gonna be good. You know, he's he's a smart guy, and he's kind of like succumbed to dumb fuckery, you know.
But you know what's not dumb fuckery, Chris? To use a turn of phrase, this Wonder Man show. Have you watched it? And if so, what are your thoughts, man?
I haven't seen the whole thing yet. I only saw the first episode, and it's pretty cool. I'm gonna devote probably this weekend to watching it. I have a lot of wrestling stuff I gotta watch because I'm doing a lot of different wrestling things this weekend. But I liked it so far, and like I do one of the things I did appreciate it is, especially if you were ever a struggling actor, not just a struggling actor, but a struggling actor in Los Angeles. That's a very specific thing, you know. Being a struggling actor in Los Angeles is different than being a struggling actor in New York, you know. And and just kind of like all those different kind of riggers and hitting those beats. It was very meta. That's one of the things I did like about the show. It was like because it even though it's science fiction, and I almost kind of wish it wasn't like confined to the trappings of the Disney universe, you know, because I thought some of the real life themes in it were like, you know, that those are things that should definitely be explored, you know.
Yeah, I think you know, off of that first point you made, Chris, and apologies in advance if we spoil anything for you, Professor.
That's all good.
I think not only do we see that experience of a struggling actor in Los Angeles, but Los Angeles itself really kind of sets the tone and tenor for a lot of the series. Like you could tell they were actually on location. Like Brittany, when we talked about Wonder Man, she was like, "Yeah, like that's an authentic, or as authentic as you can be on Disney Plus." LA experience, and so like I think one of my favorite bits is Rach, because they always found different ways to bring up the title card.
Yes.
And I want to say it was episode number 5, coming off of the Doorman episode, where the kid has the footage of Simon, and they're like, we gotta go now, we gotta get him. And Trevor's like, are you gonna fly? And he's like, no, I'm going to use my car. So do you not have powers? No, we got to go now, Trevor. And they run off to his car. And then the next thing you see is they're stuck in LA traffic and the kid is getting away. And it's just like, Wonder Man. Like, that's perfect.
That was great. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And I thought, and I think you guys mentioned it, one of the funniest scenes was when they catch up with that kid. And but then they go into what they perceive to be a drug den. And well, I won't spoil what it actually is for you, Chris, but it's not a drug den. But then the people from the people for it, just everything is kind of like within the world of Simon and Trevor are kind of like colliding together. You got the people who are trying to hunt down Trevor who come down, then the police come down, then this kid who they thought they were trying to get the footage from, and then they get a call from Simon's agent, and Simon's agent says, "Oh, you guys need to get down here now. The director wants you down here to audition right now." And then all of a sudden you just hear a gunshot and like, "We gotta go."
Yeah.
Excellent comedic content.
Yes, and I think they run to the car, and Trevor, they're in opposite seats because Simon's been the one driving the whole time, and Trevor's like, you normally drive, and he's like, just go, Trevor. I think their chemistry to me, Rachel, is kind of like the show doesn't work if Ben Kingsley and Yaya's characters don't work. Like not just the actiony scenes, but I think my favorite scene between the two of them, or one of my favorite scenes between the two of them, is when we get to Von Kovac, this eccentric director who was making a reboot of Wonder Man, which was a movie in this universe that was set back in the 80s. And the guy playing Wonder Man actually looks like comic accurate Wonder Man. And they get to Von Kovac's. Simon's going through all these auditions with everybody that's there. He's bombing the audition because he can't get out of his own head, Rach. And so he has this dream where he and Chris, again, spoiler alert, Chris.
No, it's all good. It's cool. I'm gonna watch it anyway. So you know.
And to be fair, I don't think knowing what happens is gonna ruin the show for you.
It won't. Yeah.
So he has this dream where this guy knows his secret. He knows he's got powers, and he keeps calling him a freak and you a loser, and then he punches the man through the face, Ray Williams, through the face. And then he, like, it looked like for a split second, I was like, did he actually do that? No, he couldn't. Right. And then he wakes up and he goes out on the balcony and he's like, he's starting to spiral because he does this a lot where when he's getting in his own head and he's like, I'm losing my chance, I'm losing my shot. And he's like, Simon goes out to talk, or Trevor goes out to talk to him, and he's like, Trevor's just like, you just got to be yourself and show people the real you. And he's like, how can I show people the real me if the real me is going to get me fired off of every set I walk on? Right. And he's like, no, man, your powers aren't who you are. The sum of your experiences, the good, the bad, everything is what makes you who you are. And then they go back in and then they kill the audition. And so I thought that was a really good moment between those two, Rach.
Yeah. I enjoyed that him landing the role of Wonder Woman. Sorry, Wonder Man. Used to say Wonder Woman. That wasn't part of the jig with Trevor and the agents. Like, I love that he like authentically earned the role like through his acting talent. Because it was initially I was like, is that going to be like part of the setup that you're like getting him to show his powers or whatever? But I was like, no, it was like he genuinely deserved and got this role because he was the best actor for the part, and I really enjoyed that.
And that's what, and I think during the first episode, that's what they said. Like when he was on the set of the American Horror Story, it was like he crushed it in the audition,
right?
No, he's definitely super talented. So I'm interested to see where they'll take the second season, because I know the ending kind of flips everything on its head. So I'm interested to see where it goes.
So real quick though, Rach, because we talked about Simon, we talked about Trevor. I don't think we've talked about the real villain of this show yet. And I would just say, you know, a lot of people are happy for a lot of folks, Rachel. But don't pretend to be happy for him, Joe Pantoliano. Joey Pants was crazy in this series. Rach, what do you think of Joey Pants?
Oh my gosh, he was so funny. Like, again, there's just like so many characters that I'm so just like trying to keep everyone straight, but like just straight comedic gold. I really do love that. I think Marvel is when they nail the comedic aspects of things while still leaning into the superhero side of things. I really appreciate that, because it's like a certain amount of like genre bending that, like, you know, there's some extremely funny moments in the series as well, while not stopping that from having, you know, genuinely moving emotional moments as well. So I really enjoyed that.
And I think in that scene, Rach, we get a little bit of both because I know how much Ray loved Joe Pantoliano in this series. But when we get the funny humor of don't you pretend to be happy for him, Joe Pantoliano. It's like, why did you say that man's whole name like that?
Exactly.
But then, he actually starts sticking up for Trevor as an actor because Joey's like, man, you lucky you got out of the business, Trevor, because, this business is crazy. And he's like, no, this man has got an audition for Wonder Man and he's great. And you see for that brief second, Trevor, like, this kid's really a good person. And we know as the audience, and Trevor knows what he is doing what Simon is doing to Trevor in terms of working with the Department of Damage Control and spying on this guy. But what did you make of your man Joey Pants on these streets, Ray, who got the ultimate revenge by stealing Trevor's role once again?
That was the thing. Is like it was like throughout this series, it was just these mentions of Joey Pantoliano. And so, like you said, he was the real villain, brother. And they had the audacity to like continuously be condescending and talking down to Trevor. And then, like you said, we get the reveal, like, since Trevor ends up taking the fall. Later on in the series.
I love how you try to protect Chris.
I'm trying.
No, you don't have to do that, man. I'll
you like Trevor trying to protect Simon.
I'll catch it. Yeah.
But let's just say, Trevor gets caught up, so he can't act, right? So in walks Joey Pantoliano, or Joe Pants, as they call him, Joe Pants, as he likes to be called. And just like you said, brother Nate, just swoops in just like he did. What was the name of it? Was it California State Hospital or South something hospital?
Yeah.
Steals the role of Barnaby in Wonder Man, and then has an nerve to still at the premiere try to push the real estate on him.
Yes.
And then that final episode where they reunite and and Trevor's just like, so who's got my role now? Who ended up getting it? De Niro? Who?
Pierce Brosnan?
Like, let's not talk about that.
Joey Pants.
I think there was some really, like, Yaya's so good in this, right? Like just some small little scenes, like when they're reading the Wonder Man script, when they're chasing the kid, and Trevor's reading the script, and Simon's like, we don't have time for that, Trevor. We don't have time for that. And he's like, oh, Barnaby betrays Wonder Man, and he immediately pulls off to the side of the road. He's like, yeah, but Barnaby was his only friend. Like, just the acting geek that is Simon Williams. It just was hilarious to me. And then when we finally see Trevor get the role, or see Simon get the role, and the movie comes out and it's a success, we get a great moment with him and his brother Eric, who I'm glad they didn't lean into like Eric's comics counterpart so much, because in the comics he is a villain. He's a villain called the Grim Reaper. But in this one, he's just like, he's a bit of a jerk to his brother, but it's because he cares. And this is the only way he can kind of try to motivate Trevor. Like he's got the right goal. He just doesn't know how to do it in the right way for Simon. So there they have a moment where he's like, Dad would have been proud of you, man. I wish he could be here to see you up there. His mom is happy. His agent's like, man, you going places. Simon is locked up. Trevor is locked up. I don't know why I keep getting them mixed up. Trevor is locked up at this point, and then it just fades to black after we're like, what is Simon gonna do next? The next time we see him, Rach, he's like in this random bar out in the desert, and he's just chilling, and he's talking with this guy that works at a job that he's not really fond of. And Trevor's like, hey man, for my next for my next role, I'm gonna follow you and shadow you, and I'm gonna stay with your family. And so he moves in with this family, and the wife and the kids are all like, this is totally not normal. He's like, yeah, I know. But it turns out this guy is actually a guard at the prison that they sent Trevor to. And that's where I kind of thought they were headed, Rachel. But again, this show does so many things well. I like that they actually took time to show Simon with the family and with this guard. And to the point where he's talking about, the family's money issues, and he's taking the guy jogging in the morning to try to get his health right. And he actually cares about these people in a way that we saw earlier in the series. Simon really didn't care about people, not because he was a bad person, but because he was only focused on, I need to be an actor.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I really like that part at the end, and they make very clear to show the guys on the phone with his wife talking about, oh, what? We just got some big settlement deposited, or not a settlement, a big deposit to the bank account from an unknown. And he makes sure that that the family's going to be taken care of before he goes and busts his Trevor out of jail. And I was like, that was very, very finely done. They made their point very well. I like that.
Yes, and I have seen some people, Ray and Rachel and Chris, say like, wait a minute, he's going to get that guy in trouble, because they know, no, the series made sure to show you that Simon has mastered his powers now in a way that he couldn't control them before. And the first thing he does when they go into the jail, well, the second thing he does, the first thing he does is sing "Mama, Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be Cowboys." I thought that was hilarious. But then he uses his powers, which are still kind of undefined, to short out the cameras. So there's no record of who broke into Trevor's cell. Like, I'm sure they could kind of theorize, but this doesn't connect him to the guard. So the guard gets to quit this terrible job and pay for his daughter's medical bills and, move away from this crazy desert town and live a good life, hopefully.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They covered all their bases. I was very happy with that. And it felt like a very tight, clean run of episodes.
What'd you think about that last episode, Ray?
I thought it was really good. Like you all mentioned, I think just the dynamic between, and I loved even leading the episode before where it's and this is where Simon actually finds out about Trevor, like the episode before with the writer from the New York Times.
Yeah.
And Simon is so worried that the writer is going, and this kind of still speaks to some of the self-centeredness that Simon has. He's so worried about, the writer's gonna grill me. She's gonna be all over me.
Did you see what she did to Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
Right.
That's so funny.
And that pigeon murderer, that pigeon killer, Joseph Gordon. We're nothing like him. And so he's so wrapped up in what he thinks the author is going, or the writer is going to expose in him, that when they get together and they do the joint interview with her, that she's more fascinated by Trevor. And Trevor is just out of nowhere, just why are you talking about me? I'm no Joseph Gordon-Levitt. And so
that was another smart thing by the show, Ray, because as the viewer, we're in Simon's shoes. And so we're nervous for Simon when he goes into this interview, and we're like, man, did anybody say anything about him? Is she going to ask about these incidents that he's had on these sets? But of course, if this is the real word, she's not worried about Simon. She's worried about the dude that used to be the terrorist.
Exactly.
What's going on with you?
and that makes sense too. And so, again, I think that was just him being so myopic and thinking of himself. Oh, since I'm the star of the movie, of course she's going to, I know they want a joint thing, but of course she's going to want to be fascinated about me. But like you said, it's no, it's this brother who was acting like he was like he was from Al-Qaeda. No, it's that guy.
The dude that just got arrested at LAX 6 months ago.
And so I found that really interesting. And then just the bond. And then just as Simon is getting worked up after he finally finds out about Trevor, and Trevor finally tells him everything, and just like Trevor is just trying to make sure, he's like, I want to make this right. And Simon was like, how are you going to make this right? And he was like, I don't know. I was like, oh. And so, and then I know once Simon leaves and he enters into that particular set.
Even before he left, Ray, when Trevor's like, I don't know, I'm like, oh, but then when Simon was like, that's a hell of a performance, man. And it just like, that cut deep.
And then, like, even though he was an informant, it wasn't like any of the stuff that he was telling Simon was wrong. When he was trying to tell him, once he saw him in the audition, just like, hey, get all the breath out of you, because he genuinely, again, them having that close bond, because them both being actors and them both loving the craft, he genuinely wanted to see him succeed. So he's like, he gave him a tip: expose all the breath from your lungs, it'll activate your shock senses, and then you could just go in there and just go off the cuff without thinking, and without, like you said earlier, Nate, being in your head and thinking about every other little thing. Just be present and in the moment. And so, and then when he gave him that clue, or not clue, but a tip, when he was getting worked up, and he was like, hey, do the box breathing. And so once he left from Trevor's trailer, and I could just see him getting worked up, and to myself, I'm like, do the box breathing, brother, do the box breathing, please. Yeah, it is, but like he did not.
It's not gonna work.
No, he did not do it. And it's just crazy too, because I think the agent who was tracking them from the Department of Damage Control, I think later they were talking about how, oh, well, this wasn't just an explosion due to like regular explosives, but this was on like an atomic level or something like that. And so, yeah, it just shows that, especially all the incidents that we like actually see Simon get caught up in, like whether it be him in his apartment, like we can see how this can be construed as like this guy could be a menace if he's not like controlling this. Like he could be a liability, not just to movie studios, but like to the entire city if he's not controlling what he has within him. So I just thought that like those last two episodes kind of I think hammered on that, and just on the fact that he needed to get it under control. And one more quick thing too, just I liked how, and I know they set it up in the first episode too, where his girlfriend left him, and they brought her back in that second to last episode, and it's just like, oh, she's just saying, oh, I knew about the secret. He was like, what? And he was like, she was, because she mentions it in the first episode, like, you're not letting me in, and then she reveals to him, like, if you just let me in, like, I'll be there for you. I loved you at one point, but you just got to be comfortable enough in me to trust me. But and so I just love that dynamic between those two for brief moments as they were. So.
And I think, like, I love kind of the juxtaposition of Simon and Trevor's journeys, Rach, where Trevor's journey is, I need to be more selfless. And Simon's journey is also, I need to be more selfless, but I also need to let people in. I need to, be in contact with people. I can't just be, it just can't be the Simon show. You know what I mean? And so I think when we see him at the end of the series or the end of the season, the Simon that we saw in episode 1 wouldn't have spent so much time with that guard and his family, because they're unimportant. And it's not in a mean way, but it's he is self-centered. And I think because he went through this journey with Trevor, that allowed him, like, okay, because Trevor's like, just be nice to me, just say hi to someone.
Exactly.
Just remember, call people by their names. It's like that shit works. He's like,
yes,
it does. So that's the thing. It does work.
Yep. And then I love how I think right after that they were like, I guess the PA came up to him and was like, "Oh, it's the makeup artist's birthday.
Oh yeah,
you gonna get her something?" It's they were like, "Oh, you want me to go to Beverly Hills? It's going to be expensive, $650." And Simon's like, "Do we like her that much?"
It's quality.
But what did you think? Yeah. I was just gonna say, Rach, because to Ray's point about that second to last episode, the penultimate episode, if you will, that scene from where we go from the interview with Kathy Friedman from the New York Times to Trevor finally opening up about what he's been doing this whole time to Simon just blowing up, literally. What did you think of the way they set that up and then how we end up going into that finale episode?
I think they did the timeline of it all really well. Like you were saying earlier, that they reveal that Trevor is a double agent really early on, and then we get to see them build their friendship with that knowledge. I think it was very intentional. And then it shows that Simon's kind of figuring out, in front of this reporter person, that, there's something else going on here. What are you not telling me? And then the scene where Trevor really reveals what's going on was just like so heartbreaking because, this is like Simon thought he was, on the top of the world with his friend here and, doing the role that he always wanted. And to like see that very like basic betrayal on him, even knowing like the friendship that he built with Trevor and how important he is to Trevor now. Really, really just heartbreaking. And I think that it made the emotional blow up scene that much more poignant, really going through. I thought it was a really well done sequence.
And then we got Ray's favorite part of the series. He didn't tell me it is, but I know it is because I know Ray Williams. The final episode, we start off, the Department of Damage Control is going through the wreckage of this sound lot, and in the background, Rachel, is that Phantom Planet? California, here we come.
Oh, yeah.
Right back where we started from. And it's like, obviously, that's a great song. Everybody remember that song from the OC. But I think the way they used it to set the mood for this episode, where we see like them going through the wreckage, and then we see all these cop cars going down the street, and they're looking for Simon. It kind of set up the mood for that last episode.
Yeah. No, I think that was really well done.
Yeah, so I think we'll wrap it up here again, Chris. I think even knowing what we've told you, you'll enjoy it.
I should think I will.
It has been renewed for a season 2, which again was something that I don't think Disney or Marvel planned for. But final thoughts on Wonder Man before we go from LA to New York, Rachel. What are your final thoughts on season 1 of Wonder Man?
Overall, really solid. I really enjoyed the introduction to the characters and to the world. I think Marvel's really doing a lot with this world and everything going on, all the crazy stuff happening. So very solid. Looking forward to season 2.
Okay. Ray, what are your thoughts on Wonder Man? Because again, this ladies and gentlemen, you don't know the miracles that have happened this Easter weekend with this man, Ray Williams. This man, Ray Williams, watched a show relatively recently to when it was released, and I'm just surprised, Ray. So what were your thoughts on the series, and did you enjoy it more than you thought you would? Oh, also for Chris, because we did spoil stuff when we did our Wonder Man review earlier this year. So did that hamper your enjoyment of the show in any way?
Oh no, it didn't. Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're good. Well, I was gonna say no, it didn't hamper it all. It kind of had me thinking like, all right, well, there's some things that I need to be looking out for, especially when you guys were talking about the Doorman episode. So I was like, when is it coming up? And so I was kind of looking forward to that, and that didn't disappoint. And so overall, I thought the series was very good. I thought at least it lived up to what you guys were kind of saying how good it was before. I think to me it did live up to that expectation. And like you said at the beginning, Rach, I think the ending opens up so much. We officially don't even know what his actual costume is going to be because he had a costume from the movie, even though he kept the glasses, which I don't think you're supposed to do that. But
I mean, he made the studio a lot of money with that one, Ray. They probably was like, you can have the sign.
Yeah. I think they were like at the rap party. It was like, go ahead and take it.
You know, actually, Von Kovac probably gave it to him as a gift at the rap party.
Yes. I think so.
This is for you, Simon.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm really intrigued about what's going to happen for season 2. If it's going to be connected in any way with the Avengers series, or with the Avengers movies, or if they're just going to keep it localized to like the different TV series, whether they're going to link up with Daredevil or any of the other characters from the other TV series. So it's going to be very, very interesting.
Okay. I think for me, my overall thoughts on Wonder Man season 1 was it exceeded expectations. Again, I'd heard about this series a few years back. It almost got to the point where it's like Blade, like this is never going to happen. This is never coming out. But then when they dropped it, at first I was upset, Rachel, with the form in which they dropped it, because they put all the episodes out in one day, and I was like, I don't know if I like that release strategy, but it goes to show you something, because I believe, and I don't have any proof of this, I believe Marvel dropped it in one day because they did not have faith in the show. And also we've seen that with how they released Echo and how they released Ironheart in similar fashions. A lot of these characters, they're kind of like, we're not quite sure about. So I believe they didn't have any faith in the show, but that disbelief actually kind of worked in the show's favor, Rach, because I think this show does work better on a binge than if you watch it week to week.
Yeah. No, I agree. I thought it was really good. I watched them, I think over 2 sessions, and I think they worked really, really well watched together like that. So Marvel might have meant it for harm, but I think it ended up being really good for them.
Yes, I agree. And then, as Ray said, that Doorman episode, ding to the dome, like it's actually, like, it's funny, it's hilarious. Like Josh Gad is crazy for that one. I'm melting, bitches. But there's actually like some really heartfelt moments in that episode too, where because again, not to get too deep into what happens, but like there's a moment where DeMar has like this overnight success, and it's connected to Roxxon, which in my Marvel brain, because I am a Marvel, unlike Rach, I'm like, could we be alluding to Cloak and Dagger coming into the picture sometime in the future? But he becomes this overnight success who then becomes a joke very quickly. And not the kind of joke where like everybody's in on it and he's having fun with it, but it's like people are laughing at him because he's this ridiculous character and he's reading comments online, which you should never do. And it's like everybody's saying, you suck, Doorman, you whack, this joke is corny. Anybody else sick of this Doorman character? And then he got like one person that's like, I still believe in you, Doorman. And he's just like, thank you, man. And it's just like, oh, like he didn't ask for any of that. He didn't ask for all of this. And so that episode was great. But again, the show doesn't work if you don't have 2 strong leads like Simon and Trevor, played by Yaya and Sir Ben. And they killed it. I'm excited to see what season 2 is going to bring. You talked about where we could see them next. I don't think we'll actually see them in this, but I do think there's a way to connect them to the larger MCU because Daniel Destin Cretton is also the director of Spider-Man. So it wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me if there was like a Wonder Man movie billboard in the background somewhere, or if at that party scene that we saw in the trailer, like, hey man, you seen Wonder Man yet? I thought that was pretty good, man. Joey Pants killed it. Like if we get some allusions to the Wonder Man movie in the MCU, I think that could be cool. So I enjoyed it, man. If you're curious about it, I'd say watch it. Actually, and I saw this on IG yesterday too, because Marvel went from not promoting it at all to we promoting it all the time, because it's all over their IG. But also, if you play the video game Marvel Rivals, they are airing the first 2 episodes of Wonder Man, I guess, starting this week in the pavilion. Like if you go through the map and go to the pavilion, you can just sit there and watch Wonder Man while you're playing Marvel Rivals. It's like, okay, that's pretty cool.
Very cool. All right. Well, I think we can officially move on to our second matter to discuss. You know, Nate, you really nailed me for this episode. You got me discussing 2 Marvel properties.
Maybe you're a Marvel after all.
But that is okay, because the second one is the first episode of season 2 of Daredevil. And I love Daredevil. Daredevil, of course, being one of my very dear lawyer superheroes. My other lawyer superhero being like Laurel Lance, not doing great these days, you know, not doing great for quite a while, in fact. I gotta lean into my boy Matt Murdock here.
Before we get to Daredevil, because you brought up the lawyer connection, Rage, did you watch She-Hulk and did you enjoy it?
It's still on my list. I never quite got around to it. I do know that she is a lawyer, and I was like, I got to get on that, but just like life. But it is on my list,
what I would say.
And I
that was cool.
Watch it. I've heard a lot of great things about Tatiana Maslany.
She's really good.
And Orphan Black, just as being an incredible actress. So it is on my list. It just, you know, hasn't happened yet. But,
yeah.
So yeah, a little bit of an introduction. So I'm sure some of you might be aware, there is a big con in Chicago every year called C2E2, Chicago Comics and Entertainment Expo, that was just this past weekend, not like yesterday, the week before that. And as part of that, they had Charlie Cox and Kristen Ritter this year, and did a Daredevil panel along with the actor that plays Foggy and the actor that plays Dex.
Nice.
I did not check what day the panel was being held before I signed up to go to the con, unfortunately. But I did get to watch it online afterwards. And I have a few thoughts. It was not as great as it could have been, because they just did we're going to let everybody ask questions and not like talk about the upcoming season, which was a little disappointing because most people's questions suck. I've sat through a lot of con panels, so I feel like I've seen most of them. So I'm just kind of like, they were like, oh, well, do you think your character would have survived the snap? And they're like, I don't know. Wasn't it just like random? And then they're like, what do you think your character would have done during the events of Avengers Endgame? And they were like, I don't know. Turned into somebody, I guess. It was a little interesting. I love Charlie Cox, though. I got to meet him in 2019 at a con in like Arizona. We spent like a single day. It was like a 24-hour trip to meet him. And my roommate was meeting Taron Egerton from Kingsman, I want to say.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So I got to meet him. They handed me a sticker that said "Save Daredevil," so it was at some point in the campaign to save one of the shows. It's been all over the place.
You did it, Rachel. You saved it.
We did it. All right. I love Daredevil. I love the original 3 seasons. I thought they were really well done. I loved last season that was just done by the Disney show that was before this podcast existed, I think. So we didn't get to talk about it too much. But well, first off, I'll start. I will stop ranting eventually and let you guys talk. But the first episode made me very sad because they killed off Foggy in the first episode of season 1 of the Disney Plus show.
Yes.
And that made me extremely sad because I love Foggy. But Charlie did mention at the panel that it was apparently the actor's request to be killed off. So I was like, okay, I guess I could do that. Karen does seem to be present in season 2 more so than she was in season 1. She was kind of just around in season 1. And they mostly, one of the new characters was, I guess, Matt's, I'm not sure if she's still his girlfriend or not, but Heather, the therapist, that had the whole scene with the graffiti artist villain, whose name I do not remember, but was really freaky. So you're bringing it in on writing on all of that. I really like the first episode. A lot going on in the show, for sure. I will say I think it's debuting at a really interesting time politically. They're of course using Wilson Fisk as the main villain, as he's the mayor of New York, which oh boy.
Yeah.
Very different from reality right now. I'll just leave it at that. Many different ways. And you know, he's kind of airing with ruling with an iron fist, and he's got his anti-vigilante task force going down. So Matt's like in hiding, and Karen is kind of helping him, but they're also kind of just a little all over the place. And shit is going down. Very much so. So yeah. Nate, what did you think of the first episode?
Yeah, so I really enjoyed the first Disney Plus season, even though you could see some of the seams of the show because of the way production was interrupted. But I thought overall I liked it a lot. Like the Hector Ayala character, like I thought he brought a lot to the first half of last season. Like I just seeing Frank and Matt together again was fun. And then again, like Vincent D'Onofrio always kills it as Kingpin, and so I was very excited for what we're going to get this season. And so far, I've only watched the first episode, but just seeing like the propaganda that is and the way Fisk uses the media.
Oh my goodness, it was so good.
Yes,
they're killing it.
Yes, and I loved it because you had the same people doing like the man on the street stuff in season 1, and they're like, man, Fisk is terrible. This city is going downhill fast. And then they fast forwarded, and the same guy's like, man, Mayor Fisk is making our streets safe again.
Yeah. And they show you how they're cutting it together. I was like, oh, that's so good. That's so good.
Yes.
I think it's a very interesting time politically as well. That it's airing and making these things. We won't fare too much into politics.
I mean, you could, if you squint, he may resemble a certain real life figure.
The world is a fucking mess right now. To put it lightly. So I think the authoritarian take has been quite good. I really think it's words. Sorry. I think it's done really well with the current stuff that is going on. Obviously, the subjects are different, and it's not the first time that a show has used, anti-vigilante or anti-metahuman or, anti-alien, whatever it may be, as a metaphor for discrimination against other categories of humans that we have in this wonderful world. So I'm excited that it is airing at a time where I think it is very politically relevant as well. I love Matt Murdock so much, and I love Harley Cox, and he's fantastic. The last scene where he's with the older investigator from the law firm, and he's like dying, and I'm like, shit, man, like I don't know how you can rescue all these people now.
Is everybody gonna die in episode 1? Like every season, is that what we doing?
Right? I was like, he's killing the people, he gets attached, and I loved it because obviously
Disney's like, hey man, we bringing in the defenders, man. We gotta lose some people,
right? Like, there's obviously a certain suspension of disbelief that like one guy can take down a whole team with a bunch of guns and like all those things. But I love that they showed that like he got overpowered for a minute there, and they like pulled his mask off, and he's like. And they know who they said, oh shit, that's Matt Murdock. Like they know who he is. Like shit is over for our buddy here. Like it was so bad. And then the knife comes in, takes them all out, and you see the knife that says you're welcome, and you're just like, oh. I thought that was such an effective scene, and it was really, really well done, because I think like the sheer panic, like Charlie Cox is like such a good actor that like the way he can like portray emotion while also making it obvious that like Matt Murdock is not a seeing individual. Like I don't know. I would love to have like a conversation with him about like how he handles that, because I think he does it so effectively, and it's like so well done. I think he's awesome.
And I think with that scene though, Rach, like I loved it. Like obviously the bullseye tease, like, oh man, that's how you know New York City is bad under the Fisk regime, because Bullseye and Daredevil are gonna be working together to some extent.
Right.
But one of the things I've always liked about Daredevil is, yes, he has these abilities, but at the end of the day, he's just a dude. And he can take all this. He can take a lot of physical punishment. And part of that in the Netflix era of the show was he was dealing with a lot of Catholic guilt, and this was his penance, so to speak. But like, you're right. Like the fact that what got him distracted in that fight is like, oh damn, I can't hear my friend's heartbeat anymore. Right. And then it just takes that split second, and then they're on him, and then Bullseye to the rescue. I think that's kind of what I'm interested in, because I've seen some of the trailers for this season. Like, how do we bring in all of these disparate vigilantes and Bullseye to form this resistance to what Fisk is doing?
Yes, and I did see and check that Kristen Ritter has some billing on the season, so I think we're getting quite a few episodes with Jessica Jones. I won't take too long. I love Jessica Jones, but primarily the first season. I was not crazy about seasons 2 or 3. I rewatched the first season probably like 3 or 4 times because I really liked it.
The first season is the best season of that.
It really it's such a killer. Yeah, with her and David Tennant work together so well in that season. It's just so effective, and I love evil David Tennant. I've like rewatched the 4 seconds of him we get in the Goblet of Fire like multiple times. He's only on screen for like 2 minutes, but he's great. So I really enjoyed season 1 of Jessica Jones, and I feel like they really let me down on seasons 2 and 3, unfortunately. But I loved her and Matt's relationship and interactions in The Defenders, so I'm very excited to see her going back. The only other thing I will say is that while watching the panel from C2E2, Kristen Ritter's personality and like voice is so wildly different from Jessica Jones. It's insane. She has this very like bubbly, girly personality, and I was like, oh, I don't think we would get along in person. It's just so wild to me because, like, damn, that girl's a great actress.
You say you get along more with Jessica than Kristen?
I think I would, honestly. I think I would. She's just like this happy, bubbly person, and I'm just like, I mean, I'm great. I'm happy for her. I'm really, but very different. Very different.
So, Rachel, let me ask you, because you're not a Marvel. It's been legally documented.
It's true.
When we get to that interrogation scene with Jack Duquesne, did you know who that was?
No, I had no idea.
Okay, so Jack Duquesne was from the Hawkeye series.
Okay.
And he was like, in the Hawkeye series, he was Kate Bishop's mom's new fling. And we're supposed to, as the audience, think he's a bad guy because he's giving off all these bad guy creepy vibes. But then it turns out he's just a weirdo who loves swords. And he becomes like this guy that helps the good guys at the end of the series fight the Russian mafia, and they start calling him the swordsman. And so he's one of these vigilantes that we saw last year be mentioned, and then they did the interrogation scene, and so the law firm is trying to help Jack Duquesne, and spoiler alert, I don't think they're going to be able to help Jack Duquesne.
Yeah, it don't look good. I can say that much.
I think Jack Duquesne is going to die.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I love about the series is and Daredevil in general. It's just that like they don't hold back. They kill people all the time. They're just like,
yes,
damn, you're done.
Right.
But it makes the stakes real because
what did you think about when Kingpin killed that the chief of police last year, Rach?
Yeah, right. And it's just like, oh,
he squished his head. And just
I was like, oh,
melon.
Like, and I love it because it is like obviously some suspension of disbelief, but like in New York, we don't have people with superpowers, but they have like the mob and people who have been killing people and using power to control people for a very long time. Mm-hmm. So like I see where they get the inspiration. I'll say that. But I will also mention that New York City is doing awesome in reality right now. It has an awesome leader. I do not live there obviously currently, but New York has always been my home. So I am very happy that real New York is doing awesome.
If Mayor Fisk was the real life mayor of New York, which would you move back?
Oh, not anytime soon. I'll tell you that.
Like, how
I'll
long
stay
is
in
this term?
Chicago. Chicago's got our problems, but at least we don't get that.
What did you think? Speaking of like kind of the political aspect of it, what did you make of this random fixer that was brought in by Fisk to help him out?
Interesting. I'm always, one of the things they never do anything randomly in these series. Everything has a meaning. Everything is always going to be tied back to something. So that's one of those things that's like, it's obviously the start of the season that I'm like, okay, I don't know what that is. I don't know where it's going, but I'm paying attention because it's going to be something. So, and they're also
off,
very
like Gary
good with,
Busey vibes.
Gary Busey. Yeah. Oof. It's true though. It is. It's you can't stop paying attention for a second with these shows because you will miss something.
Yes. And then I did catch when they were in the office, when that character makes his debut in front of a Kingpin and then the whole group, he's connected to director Dave Fontaine.
Yes.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus' character, who was in Wakanda Forever. She was in Thunderbolt. She was in Captain America, Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I remember she was. Oh God, what movie was that?
She was in Black Widow at the very end.
Oh, the Thunderbolt one.
She was in the Thunderbolts. Yep. So whoever this character is, he's connected with somebody pretty high up.
Interesting. Yeah, that's very interesting. No, I did a double take when his actor entered the first. I was like, well, is that fucking like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo on my screen? But then he
does kind of look like Matthew Lillard.
I was like, is that? But then he did something that was a direct giveaway to me. I was like, oh, he's not a New Yorker because he said I was going to get a gyro off the street. I'm 100% aware that is the correct pronunciation of the word, but they do not say gyro in New York. It's a gyro, and that's what a New Yorker is.
Yeah.
You say someone's going to gyro from New York, he's going to say, "The fuck you say to me?" So that immediately took me out the moment as a New Yorker. But,
you can always tell somebody that doesn't know their Greek food when they call it a gyro.
Yep. And you're like, I went to I went to college in Virginia, not far from where you are, Nate, down in Virginia Beach. And my roommate at the time was like, it's supposed to be said like a gyro. And I was like, they don't say that in New York. That's how that's the correct pronunciation. I was like, I'm sure it is, but it's not what they say in New York.
Right. I'm aware of the correct pronunciation.
Yeah.
It changes nothing.
There's like a whole Greek community out here that's the reason why I know it,
Yeah, I actually got yelled at one time. I worked at a Greek festival at a Greek Orthodox church, and I was in the kitchen, and they paid really well, Ray. They paid in envelopes of cash under the table, cuz no taxes. And I was like, so are we gonna make the gyros next? And then the dude was like, no. Like he almost spilled his cup of ouzo on me. He was like, it is gyro. Zero. Say it right. And I was like, my bad, Nicholas. So ever since that moment, I've always pronounced it gyro.
We have a Greek town in Chicago with a little underappreciated portion of the city. They have the Greek key in the sidewalk. It's not far from my church, so I've walked down there. It's fun though. It's a good place. So, but yeah, no, that was my New Yorker sensor going off with. There's like someone who did not live in New York would not know that. So, but his vibes were all over the place, and I was like, okay, they're very obviously intentionally doing something with his character. So I was just like, okay, keep an eye out on you.
That scene later when he was like at the dinner table with Wilson and Vanessa, I was like, he's giving me some creepy vibes, man.
I know Vanessa was not having it, and I don't blame her. She's obviously she knows her husband's a bad guy, but she's just she's not taking. She's like, no.
Like, we're the bad guys, and he even gives me the creeps.
My girl, she knows.
Ooh, speaking of creepy, Rachel, I believe that character is named Muse. The artist. And yes, he is creepy.
Yes, excellent job being creepy as fuck.
If you don't like clowns or mimes, Ray, you don't need to be watching this show.
But like such a well-built character too, because some characters are just like creepy and blah and nothing. And like they got into his emotions so well because Heather being like his therapist and bringing that in, and then her like having the betrayal. I also love the moment where she shot him in the head. That was wonderful. Or maybe it was in the chest, you know, but like she just turned around, she took her moment, and I was like, God damn, girl, that's right. I love that. I love a badass woman. So.
I didn't think she was gonna make it out of season 1, the therapist.
Honestly, I was close, but she took her moment, she went for it, and she shot him and was like, nope, I'm done. I'm making it. She made her own destiny.
Trying to think some of the other. Oh, speaking of strong women, what do you think of the character of Bibi, who is Ben Urich's daughter from the original series, who was killed by Kingpin? She is now trying to play both sides, if you will, where she's doing these puff pieces for the Kingpin administration, but she's also trying to get dirt on them.
Yeah, she's gonna have to watch it. I think they're gonna be on her. She's definitely, you know, trying. I think he's the like lieutenant mayor or something now. That guy that's a fuckboy. I don't know his name.
He's got a nice apartment though.
He does. That's
New York.
New York's expensive. But I was like, you know, she's holding it close to the chest, being like, she clearly has her own motives here that we know, because she's Ben Urich's. I think she's his niece in this iteration.
Yeah.
But like we know where her loyalties lie, but we're also just, you know, she's being very careful. So I'm like, all right, girl, you got to watch it, because like on this series, you know, they're not afraid; they will kill you off.
Yeah.
Just needs to be careful.
A lot of people ain't gonna make it out of this season. We got to clear some space.
I thought Ben's death was kind of the most useless death of the whole universe of the street villains in these shows. It's just the reasoning was like, really, my dude. I don't know. It just that one just didn't sit right with me.
It's not like Matt needed more reason to hate Wilson Fisk.
Right, yeah.
Like,
it was like, okay,
I already hate you as much as a person can hate somebody.
Right,
really terrible villain already. So
yeah.
I get it.
Let's see. Oh, what did you think of the way the show started, Rach, with the scene on the tanker in the harbor?
Yes. So I was a little lost at first, because I was like, what's going down with the ship? But it was really effective. Obviously it made a big statement staying in the harbor like that, like half sunk. But like I guess the two guys that end up Matt ends up chasing around the city is like, oh no, we said what to do with the Daredevil shows, and like blah blah blah. I think that was a really good moment in showing how seriously Fisk is taking him, and being like, oh, this is not just, you know, your neighborhood street kid vigilante. Like, no, this guy is a serious threat to Wilson staying in power. So I thought that was a really powerful moment. And then just like the actual sinking of the ship was just like wild. Some really good moves by Matt Murdock as well. He's always excellent in his fight choreography. I think he always does really well. So it's very interesting. They're tying a lot. They're bringing in a lot of different storylines and different stuff. You know, they got his illegal port from last season, I think, that was part of the storyline that he's bringing in. I love that they're dealing with like run-of-the-mill political corruption in Wilson Fisk, among just like, no, he's just like the ways he's like candidly evil, among him being just like normally extremely evil and killing people as well. I think that it brings a certain level of it to like our daily lives, to say like, oh, you know, you don't have to be like killing people in your back alley to be an evil politician. So you know, there are a lot of evil people out there that are just screwing over your daily person. So I feel like that's a good use of you know, showing that you don't have to be killing people to be evil, and being, you know, screwing people over. That was not very eloquently said, but I hope that you understand what I mean.
Wilson Fisk is like, get you a politician that can do both. I can do real crimes and I can do these crimes within the framework of the system.
And be
Right,
corrupt
yeah.
and
I can be corrupt and evil. Put that on a bumper sticker. So with the ship, we see the two Russian affiliates. I'm not gonna call them gangsters because they were really just like randomly hired henchmen off of Indeed. And so they sink the ship as they were instructed to do. Then they go into hiding. Kingpin and his goons find one of them. And the way they took my boy out, Rachel, it was sad because you got the one really aggressive ICE reject that runs like Fisk's security force, and he's like beating on the guy and telling him like, well, "Tell us where your friend is," and then you got the smooth, suave like Fixer. He's like, "There's no need for this," and he's talking to him, and yes, you can go home. Just let me know what's going on. And then he's like, "I don't know where he is." He's like, "I believe you," and then he walks away and then turns around and shoots my boy in the back of the head.
And that's just always I love that because they keep it real in Daredevil. It's just like, oh, okay, yeah, we don't need you anymore. You might as well be dead.
Yeah. And at least my man had the dignity, the decency to at least pretend to be sad when he killed him, unlike the other dude.
No.
Such a shame. Bang.
Right.
So the other guy is still out there. We have not seen his whereabouts yet.
Yes, our second Greek henchman.
Yes. Where do you think they will find him before he is killed, or do you think it's curtains for him too, Rachel?
I mean, I'm hoping we find him before he's dead. Just because I would really love to like actually get some information about what's going on. I would enjoy trying to figure out what's going on and like if the ship is going to be something that's like important throughout the rest of the season, what that was leading to, and just where it's playing into all the evil shit that Wilson Fisk is doing.
Chris, have you seen any of the new season yet, and did you watch the first season on Disney Plus?
I didn't really watch the first season. I did see the season premiere of this season though.
Okay.
It's I like it. I might go back and watch the first season. I really don't have the time that I used to have for these shows. The way I had in the 2010s, there were like a billion of these motherfuckers shows.
Man,
like
Rachel and I have CW stories for days. Cause
yeah. Like I remember like I when the shows first started, I'm talking about the DC TV shows, starting with Arrow and the Disney shows. I was like, yeah, there's no such thing as superhero fatigue. If it's good, it's good. That was 2015. I wanted 2014 or 15. By 2018, I was like, there's just way too.
You a little fatigued, brother?
Yeah. It was because you had to like tie it together. You had to watch every single show. If you missed one thing, then it was a lot, man. I stuck like with the DCU. I stuck with that for the most part. I fell off at Arrow, and the Flash, all that stuff in the last couple seasons. But I did like what I started doing was, instead of watching every episode, I start watching like every other episode to kind of just be caught up and get the gist of it. Same with this stuff. And then this what I do like about I was gonna say Netflix Marvel with the Disney Marvel shows is that they are pretty easy watches. It's not a whole lot to keep up with. I think the reason, this is a guess for me, is why they do all this killing on Daredevil and Luke Cage and all those shows and the like, is to kind of establish it as the like realistic version of the superhero movies, like the
Mhm.
superhero movies are for kids. These TV shows are for adults, and they're gonna have more adult sensibilities in them.
Mhm.
That's why with Wilson Fisk you can kind of do the political stuff, and it'd be a little bit meta, but if you're a person that follows politics, you know what the fuck he's doing. You know what I'm saying? It's not like
Mhm.
it's not like subtle by any means, um and like what it's kind of even like with Fisk, it was kind of going along with, because the thing with like Trump is not a person that's like he's he's an idiot, but like a lot of people say he's kind of like they'll say, oh, he's lost his mind or he's crazy or whatever.
Mhm.
But if you follow Trump early in his career, and this is where I get the Wilson Fisk stuff, is Trump's thing is, if you and he's said this is what he's admitted. If you say things enough on television and interviews, if you say it enough, people will believe you. You
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
that's a old that's not even anything new or original. That's an old media trope.
Yep.
Right.
And that's what kind of the Wilson Fisk thing is. And the sad thing about it is it's true, it's like um especially nowadays, because the way media works is we have 24-hour access to media. You've
Yeah.
got media on your phone. You can like remember back in the day, and I'm sure we're all old enough to remember this, when you would go to the Greyhound bus station, um and you had to put a quarter in the TV to watch TV for 30 minutes or 15 minutes waiting on your bus to get there. um, those things don't exist in Greyhound bus stations anymore, because
Right.
you got your phone there, and it's like it's just easy
Whoever
access to.
came up with that is like, it's the weirdest idea in the world, but it's kind of genius because
Right,
Well, that,
you get somebody hooked. Like if they're watching an hour show, you gotta pay me 50 cents for this hour show.
right, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I've wasted some quarters on those things too, especially in my early college days. Um, I would I take the Greyhound bus before I had a car.
Just
I take
watching episodes of Martin.
Yeah, watching episodes of whatever was on there. And I would never usually be there during the time like a good show was on, like Martin or something. I'd be usually there watching the local
Days of Our
news
Lives.
or something like that. Yeah, yeah. Like I
yeah.
remember with the Virginia Greyhound station, it was um it was the one in Harrisonburg.
Okay.
I want to say it was attached to maybe like a sheets or something like that. Uh, it was, it's just kind of like that. But the whole point, though, is I, I didn't like Wilson Fisk on the Netflix series that much. I like Vincent D'Onofrio. I think he's an excellent actor. The character motivations for I'm a when it and this is an online debate when it comes to the best kingpin. I'm a
Hmm.
Michael Clark Duncan kingpin, because
Okay.
I thought he was a more gangster character. um I don't think he got caught up in the trappings of all the like softness that Vincent D'Onofrio got caught up in. I thought Vincent D'Onofrio, like,
You
if
embarrassed me in front of Vanessa.
right, yeah, it's like if you were that, like, if you were that sensitive of a villain, the people that don't like you will learn that about you and exploit it to take you down.
Yes.
Hmm.
Um, But yeah, I thought for the most part I did appreciate this season and him becoming the mayor. I thought it made sense for a character like his, you know. So I'm definitely like, again, I don't know if I'll be caught up in, I don't know if I could go back to the 2010s on these uh shows. Like, cause I even remember doing a couple of these shows with you, Nate, in the 2010s, you know. And there were just so many of those shows, man. It was like, you
It was a
know,
time.
It's real. No, it's
yeah.
real.
Yeah, and it's even weird to feel nostalgic about that stuff now. But
Remember the
but it's,
Arrowverse, guys?
yeah, it's like over 10 years ago, though. You know,
Yeah.
Oh gosh, that's so weird.
right? Yeah,
No, but you're right. You're right. That's just
yeah, yeah. Because I remember one of the critiques of Smallville when it came out was Smallville never really had a lot, and I don't know if it had any like spin-off shows, right? It was Smallville, and
I
that
don't think
was
so.
it. And I remember people like myself, we'd be like, well, you need they need to have other shows like um Victor is an interesting character, or the Green Arrow on that show was an interesting character. Maybe they could
Yeah.
have shows on that, and they never
Oh
did
boy,
that. But then with Arrow, man, they just like
restarted
Everybody
everything.
getting
there were
shows.
so many shows, and they were good shows. Don't get me wrong. It's just they started to it started to become a chore to watch it.
Yeah.
All of them, you know.
No,
Which
I
is,
agree.
if you're like in the 2010s, I wasn't in my 40s yet. So, but I was still in that weird in between time from like, okay, I'm young enough to play around. In my 30s, I didn't waste my early 30s on a marriage and a family, you know, it's like having fun. So I had time for this shit. 40s are a little different, you know, because I am married now, and you know, got other responsibilities, got a career now. Where I had the same career in the 2010s, it just was, you know, I could play more games back then than I could now, you know.
Yeah. And life just it moves at an accelerated pace, even faster than it did 10, 15 years ago.
What the hell?
Yeah, no, it's funny because I feel like I came on the scene late because for most of like 2013 to 2017 or so, I mostly just had a Twitter account and would occasionally tweet funny things. And then suddenly I got to host a show, and I was like a content creator, I guess. And I've been on podcasts since then, and that's basically my story. Yeah, no, I mean, I was all in for the CW shows, and it was funny because my favorite show was always Legends of Tomorrow, and since it was kind of the the reject cast of all of the shows, it felt like you need to keep up with all of the other shows to know what was happening with Legends of Tomorrow. And then after it got canceled unceremoniously and was not given a chance to wrap up its season,
yes,
CW, they're like, oh, didn't you hear there was a throwaway line on Flash that they're going to burst them out of time jail, and that's their their wrap up.
Send off.
Like, you think I'm watching the Flash in the year of our Lord 2019? Like, I'm sorry, Barry Allen, but like, it's not happening.
Oh, but Rachel, you missed an exciting season where Barry faced off against, get this, somebody with speed-based powers, and they threatened his family.
Were they played by Tom Cavanaugh?
Yeah, they may have been.
Nothing but love to those folks. I met Candace Patton. She's lovely.
And went through a lot of BS dealing with that studio.
Oh, don't get me started with the Arrowverse. And Emily that was at C2E2. I did not see her, but I'd previously seen her at a couple cons, and like I just felt so bad for her. She looked so like uncomfortable, and just like she had a side next to her said that like no hugs please, and I was like, oh, that poor girl is so uncomfortable and she doesn't want to be here. And I just got the feeling that so many female actors were mishandled by CW, especially women of color too, of course.
Yes.
Mhm.
That's all you can do is just sigh.
After they
at the
canceled
CW.
Batwoman, I was like, never again, I'm canceling my cable. And I did.
Yes.
And
I think that was the funniest thing because Andy B over at Multiverse of Color, I think, came to you guys to see if you wanted to review that new Batman show that lasted like a season and a half, 2 seasons.
Right.
Y'all was like, nope. And then he
Nope.
asked me and Brittany, and we were like, nope. And then me and Brittany went on to review Naomi, and that lasted a season. Then we're like, okay, I think we're done with the CW.
Yeah, no, he had previously, before the Batwoman announcement came down, he'd previously asked us if we would be consider doing it if Batwoman got axed, and we were like, yeah, sure, whatever. And then Batwoman came down, and I can speak for the other host by saying we were all extremely upset, especially because we thought season 3 was so good, and it was really telling stories that the CW was not telling at that time, especially stories of queer people of color that felt like really important, and they were doing some really good work on that show after having a season that was kind of had to have been a throwaway due to other reasons, and they were just tossing it, and they were not giving Legends a season to wrap up, or even the opportunity to know that they were wrapping up in advance like Supergirl got. And I was just, at that point I was like, no, I'm not watching anything on the CW ever again. I'm done.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. The CW, dare to defy being decent people.
And I've said some very mean things on Twitter to the creators of the
that's the problem with the CW though, is like they just like the programming director out of like, I think in the 2010s, was it that Dawn, what's her name? But they just would make decisions that made no sense, like with with 90210, for example, like if you're gonna call a show 90210, it makes sense to have it connected to the original one as much as possible, because you're trying to like milk that zip code. And then like the first season did well, then they got rid of all of the people from like the original show,
all of the expensive people.
Right, yeah, then they like it up, and then they kind of even Tristan Wilds, that like he was a really quality underrated actor. And I thought on 90210 they kind of wasted him. They didn't utilize him to his strengths, like he was turning into the new Michael on The Wire, so yeah, it was just it's a lot of that stuff. And also I'm blaming Ray for whatever that technical
Ray is very much like Wilson Fisk. He's trying to pull the puppet strings to shut you down and silence you, Chris.
Right,
But let's get out of the hell that was the CW, Rachel, and let's wrap up our thoughts on Hell's Kitchen.
Yes. God, I'm so excited for this season. I really enjoyed last season so much. I'm excited on where we're going. I love we're getting more Jessica Jones. I love that, things are really coming to a head in the political storylines in that. I think it's going to be very timely, because I think some of, without going too back into the CW stuff, I feel like some of the political storylines they had, particularly on Supergirl, were a little early, I want to say.
I think that's fair.
I think if some of those were airing right now, they would probably be a lot more poignant. Particularly the anti-alien stuff with that one guy that had he played Davis on Smallville, and I hate his guts. He was also a terrible person on Supergirl.
Oh yeah, that dude.
I hate him. I couldn't even watch that season of Supergirl. I just got so mad. I was like, no, I'm turning.
Yeah, I quit that too with that character specifically.
It's just like I see enough white supremacists on my TV screen. I don't need more. Anyway, wrapping up your thoughts on Daredevil.
Well, speaking of white supremacists, actually, I don't know if he's a white supremacist. I can't go that far with Wilson Fisk.
I think he's more just
fundamentally white and also a terrible person.
Yes, yes. See, he's
Yeah.
more of your garden variety white CEO.
Yeah, he's a supremacist. I don't know if he'd be
He's Elon Musk.
a white supremacist. Yeah,
I think
And Elon Musk may be a white supremacist though.
yeah. Elon Musk is a white supremacist.
Yeah.
So.
I think Wilson Fisk will use anything to his advantage to better and forward himself, and
Right, yeah.
to and including race, I would say.
Yes.
Right, yeah, he's more in line with just the way his mind works of a Donald Trump. You know, that's kind of like where his even with his media manipulation.
He's a smarter Donald Trump, though.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
exactly. He's got those sensibilities. He's just smarter about it.
Yeah, Donald Trump's in it. Yes.
I think I'm intrigued to see where they go with because there are a lot of different storylines that are going on, at least just from this first episode, where we've got Karen and Matt kind of leading this resistance. We've got Frank out there somewhere who's also got a special coming up. He's got a Marvel one shot coming up on Disney Plus, which should be interesting, and he's going to be in Spider-Man. So it's hot Frank summer. Big year for Frank Castle.
I love that for him.
But I want to see again, like how we build this resistance with Matt and Karen and BB and Jessica and Bullseye ? And then I do feel like we're eventually leading to at least 3/4 of the Defenders reuniting because your boy Danny's on the fence. Depends if Finn wants to actually practice and train or not this time around.
Oh, Danny.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
We'll miss you.
But yeah, it wouldn't even it wouldn't shock me if we get Mike Coulter in the season finale. Like that would not.
I would love that. I would love
that. Would be really cool.
Is he doing anything else at the moment?
I know he was doing that show Evil. I don't know if that's right.
Yeah, that's what I didn't know if he was still doing that or not.
He shortly before Luke Cage, he was on The Good Wife when I was super into that show.
Right, yeah.
As like a super evil drug dealer, and and going from that to Luke Cage was just like such a concept flip. It was like, man, he's a great actor.
He's like Judge Mathis. Judge Mathis was gangs. I used to be in one. Drugs. I used to sell them, but now I'm on the side of the law. He's like Judge Mathis with superpowers.
Been all over the place. Yeah. I was like, all right, I appreciate that.
But I think seeing how it all kind of ties into everything while still remaining true to the core of what this show is. Because you've got, there's things, because Fisk mentioned Spider-Man in season 1. Again, we're going to see Frank in the new Spider-Man movie. So there's a lot of connectivity going on. But I like that the show hasn't strayed too far away from what made it popular on Netflix. And that we're not just doing violence for violence sake. It means something. I hope my boy Jack Duquesne makes it out of this season alive, Rachel, but it doesn't look good for my boy. I think it's a wrap. But I'm intrigued, man. I'm intrigued, and I'm ready to catch up on the episode 2, which I missed, and then episode 3, which comes out this Wednesday. So I'm here for it. Chris, were you intrigued enough by episode 1 to continue watching?
Yeah, I'm gonna continue watching, but I'm not gonna promise I'm gonna watch every episode. Like if there's like what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna watch it, but if you tell me there's this episode I need to watch and review, I'll do that.
Okay.
And I'll definitely watch the season finale too, and I'll keep up with the show like on like YouTube review shows like with Grace Randolph and
MCU later with Rich Fan and
all that. Yeah, I'll do that shit, but I don't know if I could watch all this stuff. Like I said, I'm for.
He telling you he fatigued, y'all. He got the superhero fatigue.
Right, yeah. 30s are different, Like I said, when I was I had fun in my 30s, like especially my early 30s, I was having a good time.
Living life.
Right. By my mid, like, so I can waste time watching all these fucking shows and not care, go to the club and do all that kind of stuff. Now, and I was single too, so it's a little bit different. Now I'm married, and And also I was early in my career in my 30s. I was in the same career, except I was like, I could afford to cut the fool a little bit more. Now I'm actually kind of important in the career that I'm in. So I can't really give myself to these shows the way I used to.
Yeah.
Like the wrestling is enough for me at the moment. And even that is tough as well.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. We saw what happened Friday night.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a eulogy when we do that review final. Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, Ray, you can come back out if you want, man. I know you ain't gonna watch this damn Daredevil show, but you can still come out. But I think Rach, another thing I do want to see eventually, if not this season, next season, like we do need to see Matt back in the courtroom because that's
Right.
one of his superpowers as well.
Oh yes, and that was one of the things I enjoyed so much about last season was getting to see them. I meant to say that at some point that I do hope we get him in the courtroom as well because he's currently in hiding. So I was like, no, I need lawyer Matt Murdock too. Please.
Yeah, like that whole, like I said again, that whole first stretch of last season when he was defending Hector, like I really enjoyed that until they killed Hector.
That's my boy.
It was sad, Ray, and then you just heard the little frogs croaking at the end of the show.
Yeah, and I do think that's kind of like one of the things I liked about those shows too, because that's the adult aspect of the street level DC shows. Was that courtroom stuff with Hector and that first. Even though I didn't really watch a bunch of those episodes, I saw enough to be like intrigued.
Yeah. And they do a good job with it. I hate inaccurate courtroom. they did pretty well.
And we might have had a Miles Morales Easter egg in that scene as well. So who knows?
Oh, cool.
So, but Rach, I think that's going to do it for this edition.
Yes.
Of the Super Salad, and we found out tonight, folks, that despite what people on the streets may tell you, Rachel Eiley is a marvel.
When it comes to Daredevil, yes.
Daredevil and Wonder Man, we got it on two
Daredevil,
things.
Wonder Man, I'll take it.
But Chris, it's marvelous that you decided to join us this week, man. Anything you want to promote? Any articles you got coming out? Is it true? The rumors, can you confirm it, that you will be the keynote speaker at Pam Bondi's retirement party?
I would actually wish I was, because I have some words for her, but
love to see it.
Yeah. I have this. I've got a bunch of articles. One I'm done with. That's gonna probably go to my Substack when I get off of here. It's on Nick Cannon, and how much of a try hard he is. I'll say one thing. I don't want to get into a tangent, but I'll say one thing before I have to say this. Nick Cannon has an undergraduate degree from Howard University. He's got an undergraduate degree in criminology and a minor in Africana studies. When someone dumb like Amber Rose says some stupid shit to you, the person with the degree has the responsibility to check her dumb ass. That's that simple. And I'm still here. God damn, Ray.
You're here.
You're here. Okay.
Why you trying to sabotage that man, Ray Wood?
I was like, oh, Jesus. All right. But anyway, yeah. You have the responsibility to check her, and that's kind of what that article is about. Is like when you are the learned person in the room, you don't let the non-learned person in the room tell you nonsense, and you don't feed them more nonsense to already feed their dumb fuckery, So that's what that's about. So look out for that. And then just I'm sure we're going to be doing stuff this week and next week on with all this crazy all I can say is when I was watching SmackDown on Friday, I really could not believe what I was watching. So I can't wait to talk about that with y'all, and yeah, that's about it.
I always appreciate you popping in, Doc. Chris Ely, the professor, joining us here on Super Salad, and Ray Williams, doing his best Beastie Boys impression whenever Chris is on. I'm telling all of y'all, it's sabotage. Ray Williams, the master manipulator himself. Actually, you know what, Ray? I'm gonna lay off the joke because I'm proud of you, Ray. Because you said you was gonna do something and you followed through. You told us last time I'm gonna watch Wonder Man when I go on spring break and we can talk about it, and you did it, Ray. So is there anything you would like to promote? Anything you want to say to the audience before we leave? I wonder, man.
I knew that was coming once. I knew that was
now it's more funny, and now that you've seen the show, correct?
Yes.
Now you got context.
Even though they did that joke with the doorman, not the Wonder Man.
Will somebody get the door, man? I was like, oh,
now I know why he said that. But first of all, I appreciate you guys having me on once more to chat with you guys. Again, it's finally something that, like you said, Brother Nate, I actually watch and I actually get to talk about with you all. And I don't get to stay silent in the corner like I usually do. So it's always good conversing with you guys. And you know what? I'll go ahead. I'll be the villain. I'll be the Mandarin, even though I'm Trevor of StreamYard. StreamYard is the actual villain, Chris, not me.
Okay.
I'm just
look, I don't know who it is. I just know this stuff didn't happen before.
It seems very targeted.
It happens on all of my devices that are like good. I'm buying a new laptop in the next couple weeks or so, and if the same stuff keeps happening, I don't know what to do.
Brother, why would I do that to the golden goose? You are golden goose.
I don't think it was intentional. I don't know what kind of experimental stuff you were doing.
You like Simon when he broke his mama's table. He didn't do it on purpose, but he still did it.
Yeah. I don't know I don't know exactly what happened. I'm tying it to you, and I might be wrong. And if I'm wrong, I will apologize appropriately. I'm not above doing that.
He's not Gino Auriemma.
Well, yeah. Of course, you can find me right here on Nefarious. No matter what the program is, I should be somewhere close by, helping out with production and helping out with being on the panels and contributing. We do have a Styles Break fights coming up in the next couple of weeks. We're going to be reviewing UFC 328 with a new light heavyweight champion being crowned with the vacating of the championship by Poatan Alex Pereira, so that he can be fighting on that White House card with President Carlton Fisk. I mean, President
Wilson Fisk,
47. But yeah, we're gonna have
Carlton Fisk from the White Sox.
Nah. Oh yeah, what is it?
Wilson Fisk.
Wilson Fisk. I don't know why.
Like, damn, Carlton Fisk is in the Marvel universe.
But there will be a new light heavyweight champion being crowned between well, there will be a new I'm blanking on the names. I know it's our guy not Polish Power, but it's another brother, Prohaska, Yuri Prohaska. Jeez, Yuri Prohaska versus Carlos Olberg, facing each other to crown a new UFC light heavyweight champion, and also, is that UFC 327? No, 327 is coming up, and 328 will be following it, and then The Freedom 250 card will be in July, but I believe we'll be coming off the heels of UFC 327, I believe. But yeah, I think that is still the headliner for that particular fight. So, yeah, you can catch me wherever you find Nefarious on your podcasting or streaming platforms.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Ray Williams, for all your hard work, brother. Not just tonight, but also last night when we did our NCAA Women's Basketball Championship live watch. And as a reward, Ray, I'm not going to make you set up a room so we can live watch the men's championship tonight. You get the night off.
Thank you.
If you want more from me, obviously here in Nefarious, with all of our programs, we'll be back on Post Wrestling here pretty soon with the NWA podcast. The next edition of Ring Theory will be out soon. So we got a lot going on. So just keep following us here at the network on all of our socials, and subscribe to us right here on YouTube. Whether you're watching live with us each and every week or you're checking us out in the future, we do appreciate the support, man. We are still building the network, and we're glad that y'all are along for the ride. And if you feel extra supportive, hit up the patreon.com/Nefarious Media Network, where $3 gets you in the door, y'all. That's less than the cost of a biggie bag. That's less than the cost of these new Huntrix meals at McDonald's. That's less than the cost of a cup of coffee at Starbucks. I knew that would get Rachel.
You know me and
Which team are you, Rachel? Which team are you?
Oh, Huntrix all the way. It's not even a question.
Okay, so Rachel is not a fan of the Samba. What is it? The Samba Boys. Sanja Boys. Yeah. The Samba Boys. That's a whole different movie.
Discussed to death, and now there are posts about parents taking their kids to K-pop concerts and being like, "These aren't the Demon Hunters," and we're like,
"Wow,
did you lose the ability to read?" Fun times.
There's gonna be some demons at the concert tonight.
Yeah, right. It's
paid for demons.
We're the Demon Hunters. Like, they're not real people.
Right.
But other than that, you can find me again on various podcast platforms, and pretty soon I will be leading the welcoming committee parade for Angel Reese in Atlanta. And with that, my marvelous host, our fearless leader here on Super Salad, Rachel, what do you have to promote, and any words for the people as we leave them this week?
All right. As always, it is just me and my Twitter account. I don't really have that much more exciting things going on in the world. But you can catch me at Rachel Eiley. That's RACHELEILEY over at Twitter. I mostly tweet about K-pop and other exciting things. I do not pretend to know what's going on in the world of wrestling like I occasionally pretend to do on this podcast. So you will not see any wrestling content over there. But we are happy to bring you another awesome episode of the Super Salad Podcast. We hope you are enjoying. And hit us up if you have other ideas or questions for us, other thoughts on what you want us to cover. You know, we are always open to and looking for ideas. So, and yeah, that's about it. So we'll catch you on the other side. Bye.
Later.
Ooh. Okay.